Thousands of people marched, bled, and died for the right to vote. As a result, the nation enacted the Voting Rights Act of 1965. CBS 42's Alex Finney is taking a closer look at the history of the act.
And she's in studio with us tonight with this special report.
Hi, Sherry and Jim. Well, a time not too long ago, we know that blacks were not able to vote. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 changed all of that, giving black people equal treatment at the polls. And tonight, we're taking a look to get a very clear picture of where we've been, to know where we're going.
March 7th, 1965 in Selma, Alabama. An unprovoked attack on roughly 600 peaceful protesters on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. A gruesome tipping point in the birthplace of the Voting Rights Act.
There was unequal treatment at the ballot box, and the reality is that African Americans had to count how many beans were in a jelly jar, or rename all 67 counties. And the reality is that barriers were put up.
Barriers that civil rights activists worked hard to break down, and present-day lawmakers like Congresswoman Terry Sewell worked to ensure are never rebuilt.
In 2013, the Supreme Court in the Shelby County versus Holder case really gutted the enforceability of the Voting Rights Act.
That's where Congresswoman Sewell's bill comes in. It's called the Voting Rights Advancement Act, and it works to restore the protection of voters in states that have faced recent discrimination practices.
Looking back 1990 going forward, if a state has had 5 or more statewide violations of voter discrimination, that they would be covered, and therefore have the Justice Department preview any of their changes.
Now, 53 years later, the conversation surrounding the importance of voting under a new spotlight. Alabama, electing the first Democrat to the U.S. Senate since 1979, has particularly sparked a renewed focus on the black vote in the state.
I really need you guys to vote. We've always had a voice, but now it's like, no, you're going to listen to what we have to say.
In the wake of the special election, a grassroots organization called Woke Vote surfaced in Birmingham and permeated throughout the state of Alabama with the sole purpose of getting young blacks registered to vote and engaged in the political process. Here's founder DeWanna Thompson.
We had over 126 churches across the state who took on sort of the responsibility of organizing faith communities in their cities.
And the proof is in the numbers. Black voters made up 29% of the vote, 96% going for Doug Jones, including 98% of African American women.
I see it as black women now taking their rightful place as leaders.
Leaders like Terry Sewell, the first black woman elected to Congress from Alabama, are part of the movement to turn a black and white past into a colorful future.
People are standing up and organizing themselves just because of what they saw black people be able to do in Alabama. So it's awesome to be a part of that momentum.
Ultimately, the Woke Vote campaign got over 350,000 people engaged in a special election. And the conversation tonight doesn't stop here. Join me at 6:30 right after this show. On Facebook Live, we're going to be having a conversation called Millennials on the Move. And we'll be discussing black history and how it has shaped society today. Live in studio, Alex Finney, CBS 42 News. Local coverage you can count on.